Today we are going to be looking at the lowest IQ conspiracy theories that I've managed to scrape from the brains of idiots. Starting off with Jacobian, the inventor of white people. He was a black scientist that lived 6,600 years ago and was the founder of the white race, which he achieved by selective breeding whilst living on his island known as Patmos. On his island, he would breed the lightest of his followers and discard the darker ones in order to lighten the colour of his people over time. He also believed that they would rule the world and be evil, so I'm not really sure why he would do this, but apparently it was because he was bullied for having a big head by his own people, and he did this as a sort of revenge. He died at age 150, and his followers continued his legacy, creating the first white person in around 6000 BC, which is only like 3000 years from the beginning of ancient Egypt. So historically, it's a bit weird to try and place it in our current understanding of history. But who knows? Maybe there are other Jacobians for the other races that we're unaware about, and maybe there's someone out there collecting them like infinity stones. Our next conspiracy theory is that birds are government drones and are used to spy on you without your knowledge. Originally, this was a meme based on the fact that no one ever really saw baby pigeons, which eventually led to the idea that they were battery controlled, and then that they were government made, and that's why you always see them everywhere as an inconspicuous tool to control the masses. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe true on this one, just because it's pretty funny to believe. Bonus points for the idea that the whole pandemic was just a cover-up so that the government could go out and replace the batteries on the pigeons as they were all running low. Next up is flat earth theory. Yeah, this one's pretty standard low IQ stuff. There are at-home experiments that you can do to disprove the theory, and some flat earther did exactly that, only then to claim their experiment was flawed. Funny thing about this one is that the majority of them believe that the other planets in the solar system are spherical. It's just Earth that's spinning through space like a frisbee. This next one's a fun one. The Nazi secret base of Antarctica. The theory goes that just before World War II, the Nazis set out on an expedition to Antarctica in 1938, which did happen. The conspiracy part is that they created a secret base there. Fast forward to the end of the war, the idea was floated that the high-ranking officers of the Nazis fled to the secret base using their German U-boats. Then in 1945, 2 German U-boats were confirmed to be seen at an Argentine naval base 1 month before the end of the World War. And the year after, in 1946, the US then conducted Operation High Jump, which was the largest ever Antarctic expedition to date, consisting of 4,700 men and 13 ships. Which is a bit suspicious because the official reason for the operation was to create a research base, and I'm pretty sure that 4,700 men is overkill and would require way more in logistical planning for food and storage than needed for just creating a research facility. It gets even spicier when, in 1958, the US conducted 3 nuclear tests that were meant to be secret but got leaked. It could have just been a remote area to test out their nuclear weapons. However, it is pretty convenient that after those nuclear tests, a treaty was signed in 1959 that there would be no more nuclear testing in the Antarctic. Chemicals in the water turning the frogs gay is the conspiracy theory where the principal argument to the theory is that government entities released hormones into the water supply that had a feminizing effect on the frog population, causing them to become male-female hybrids, also known as hermaphrodites. This theory kind of went off the rails as the actual underlying conspiracy is that the government is trying to turn everyone gay with chemicals for their own agendas, but because of a certain internet conspiracy personality, it kind of evolved into just being about the frogs, which is funnier. Our next theory is the Finland doesn't exist conspiracy, which is based on the idea that the landmass that is Finland is a ploy by the Japanese so that they can freely fish in the ocean, as for some reason the island nation of Japan, home to huge tuna fish, wasn't good enough, so they had to create an elaborate plot just to have exclusive fishing rights in the area that we all believe is Finland. Now you might be thinking, this can't be true because I've been to Finland or know Finnish people, and the theory counters this by saying that everyone who claims to be Finnish is actually just Swedish and are either part of the trickery or are brainwashed into believing they are Finnish just to add to the realism of the fake nation of Finland. Another spin to this theory is the world population side of it, where, because the population of Finland is around 7 million, and the population of the world is around 8 billion, the percentage of people that are Finnish is around 0.09%, which is less than 1/10%. Following this, Most world population censuses have a margin of error of 1%, meaning Finland has a 50-50 chance of existing or not. This last theory I thought of myself. I remember thinking about it during a lab experiment in middle school. The premise is that, as humans, we have certain genes that are very niche, such as the super taster gene, that allows people to taste the bitter compounds in foods like cabbages. It's a genetic trait that's hereditary and is passed on. Where my conspiracy comes into it is that the gene that otherwise goes mostly unnoticed is an alien gene marker that the alien overlords will use to distinguish between people who are chosen to live and those who will be enslaved. And because it's testable for using genetic testing, it's a hard-coded marker that the aliens will use. Maybe it's crazy, but I think it's plausible, or some form of it at least. If you like these types of videos, consider subscribing and maybe hit the like button. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.